Caves are dark and cold and there's little to eat or drink. While that may seem obvious, people overlook every one of those factors.
But I don't need an extra lamp. I got an extra battery and bulb. Crap.
Carry at least 3 independent sources of light, but remember you're not limited to 3. On very long trips or trips involving wet and muddy conditions, more than 3 sources might be advisable. At least 2 of those light sources should be helmet mounted. We can't go very far in most large cave systems without being faced with a climb or a crawl. Dress for the worst conditions you will encounter during your trip. Pack with an expectation that you'll be sitting still for long periods of time while doing cave survey or other research. Carry an extra layer of wool or a high-tech material and a balaclava in order to stay warm. By carrying some simple emergency gear consisting of a garbage bag, a small piece of foam pad, and a candle, carbide light, or chemical heater, you'll be ready for a warm bivouac in the event of an emergency.
I didn't bring in food. You got a candy bar I could borrow?
Carry more food and water than you expect to need. You'll want a reasonable reserve in case you're in the cave longer than expected due to an injury or other problem.
I didn't bring any water. They didn't sell my brand of bottled water in Cave City.
Water treatment pills or a filter straw can help provide you with a safe water supply. If you'll be caving in areas known to lack any water supply, carry extra water. Remember, you always want to carry more food and water than you think you're going to need in case of an emergency. Strive to avoid accidents, but be prepared. Cave in teams of at least 3 people. Far from entrances or developed trails, 4 people may be more appropriate. If someone's injured, this allows one person to stay with the injured party while the other 2 go for help, avoiding sending a would-be rescuer off alone to possibly get into difficulties on his or her own. Each person should carry compact first aid items such as waterproof tape, aspirin, antacids, and bandages. The party leader must include extra first aid items in the party's equipment. In the event of a major injury, stabilize the person. Do not attempt to move an injured party member unless the conditions are immediately life-threatening. Learn cave rescue techniques at the National Cave Rescue Commission courses. Pay attention to the route you're following. Going on autopilot and blindly following a leader in the cave is a bad habit. If the leader's injured, you may have to find your way out of the cave by yourself. In large cave systems, encountering pits, canyons, and other passages lacking a floor is inevitable. Climb or cross drops unsecured only if you're sure that the moves needed are well within your skill level. Remember that loose rocks make poor handholds and footholds, and maintain 3 points of contact at all times. Test all hand and footholds before putting your full weight on them. Remember, make sure nobody is below you any time you are climbing. Never be afraid to say no if you don't feel comfortable with a climb or other obstacle. We would all rather abort a trip rather than conduct a rescue. Remember, cavers are going to respect you much more for knowing the limits of your abilities than they will if you attempt something for which you're not qualified and get into serious trouble.
Oh, I always wanted to learn vertical caving. I guess, if you're in the caves, it's as good a place to learn as any.
Complete coverage of vertical caving safety is beyond the scope of this video. Do not attempt to use vertical gear without being adequately trained in its use first, including not only basic ascent and descending techniques, but also crossovers and emergency techniques. Inspect ropes and slings for wear before using them every time you use them. Replace them sooner than you think is absolutely necessary. Inspect the teeth of mechanical ascenders for wear. Keep an emergency ascender in your pack in case of a mechanical failure. Watch the weather. Base level passages, shaft drains, and other parts of the cave can become unpassable in a matter of minutes. Consider soil saturation levels in concert with the weather forecast. While you're in the cave, watch the water level carefully for any sign that it's rising. Take note of upper level refuges from flood as you travel along lower level routes. Cave entrances are prone to being struck by lightning during thunderstorms. If you're waiting out a storm, then wait well within the cave and send someone periodically to check on the storm status. Do not wait at the entrance. Stay in reasonable shape and know your limits. People in good physical condition need less water and are less injury prone. Push your endurance limit in gradual increments. If your party's moving too fast for you, or if you need to rest, speak up. It's better to slow your party down than push past your limits and get into real trouble. Drink plenty of water to avoid dehydration. Eat whether you think you really need to or not. Team members must be reasonably matched in skill and fitness. However, in all cases, the weakest link should set the pace. Someone on the surface should be aware of where you are, when you left, and when you expect to return. Be sure to leave explicit instructions about where you can be found, who to call, and what to do if you fail to return on time. Surface watches are taken care of for you during organized caving expeditions. Your facilitator will explain the current standards to you at the end of this video. Caving safety is a combination of having and knowing how to use the proper equipment, understanding the cave environment, knowing and staying within our personal limitations, and most importantly, exercising good common sense. Most problems in a cave can be avoided by following the simple rule of stop, think, and then act. Now go cave, but cave safely.